Now that you're armed with information about the 87 line, it's time to take a closer look at what the competition has to offer and to point out where we have an advantage. By the way, we're comparing our 1987 models with competitive 1986 models because the 87s weren't available at the time we videotaped this program. To begin, our new optional 4-liter PowerTech 6 is larger and more powerful than the engines offered in the Chevy S10 Blazer, Ford Bronco 2, and the Toyota 4Runner. It's state-of-the-art and outperforms those competitors both on and off the road, with more horsepower and torque than all these competitors, as well as everyone else in this class. We did some comparisons with the competition in a head-on drag race. You can see our Jeep beats Chevy S10 Blazer, Ford Bronco 2, and the Toyota 4Runner, what I'd call a runaway. Another Jeep Plus. Our standard 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine with the standard 4-speed manual transmission delivers excellent EPA mileage of 22 city and 26 highway for 2-wheel drive models and 21 city, 25 highway for 4-wheel drive models. And while we're on the subject of engines, we've got a diesel advantage for you to keep in mind. Of all our competitors, only Isuzu Trooper 2 offers a turbo diesel engine option. The Cherokee and Wagoneer have a longer wheelbase than Ford Bronco 2 and Chevy S10 Blazer, and that translates into a smoother, more comfortable ride. Your Jeep vehicles are also wider than all the competitors, another factor that contributes to comfort and stability. The length and width create more rear legroom in Cherokee and Wagoneer than the Ford Bronco 2 and Toyota 4Runner, and more rear hip room than Chevy S10 Blazer and Ford Bronco 2. And remember that you've got seating for 5 passengers in comfort. Bronco 2 and S10 Blazer seat only 4. You're the only contender in the market with 4 doors for easy entry and exit, except for the Isuzu Trooper 2. And with the rear seat folded down, your cargo space at 72 cubic feet beats Chevy and Ford also. You've also got more towing capacity than Toyota 4Runner at 3,500 pounds and more payload capacity than anyone else. Your optional fuel tank holds 20 gallons versus the standard 13.5-gallon tank. That's more capacity than all competitors except Chevy S10 Blazer. Our unique Quadralink and Uniframe construction combine for ground clearance of 7.4 inches. That's better than Ford and Chevy. Let me pose a question. What do you think it takes to be successful in the automobile selling business? Luck? Lots of friends and needing new cars? Great dealership location? A terrific personality? Well, all these things can help, but the fact of the matter is that success in selling cars begins with knowing your product. Listen to what these very successful Renault and Jeep salespeople have to say about the importance of product knowledge.
Salesmen today try to sell a car too quickly. They try to use a high-pressure tactic. I have been successful throughout the years, basically knowing my product. I am sold on my product, and I try to sell my customers. I will take as much time as possible and give my time to a customer to explain what they are buying, what their dollars are buying for them. If most salesmen today would take the time to show their customer every little intricate part, basically, mechanically, functionally, comfort-wise, structure, built, you're going to find that your sales is going to be a lot easier and you're going to be successful.
In order to be successful, you have to have the product knowledge, what Jeep has to offer to customers. And you also have to know what the competition is offering. To convince people to buy a Jeep, they have to feel that you know what you're talking about.
Knowing the product knowledge, knowing what people want, knowing how to present it.
Well, the importance of product knowledge is because you get people are educated today who come looking for a car. They do some homework before they come to you. You don't get that many people in just what they call cold that want to buy a car. They've shopped dealerships. And if you don't know what you're talking about, I mean, you're going to lose a sale. You may have a better price, but if you can't answer their questions, you're just not going to sell them a car. So if you don't know your product, how are you going to sell them a car? How are you going to impress that customer who is asking you all of these things about your car? So product knowledge, I think, is very important. I think that's 70% of the battle. And then, of course, you've got to sell yourself. That's a different story. But I think product knowledge is super important.
Well, obviously, they think product knowledge is pretty important. And they've got the sales numbers to their credit to give some very real support for what they just said. It follows, of course, that it's not enough just to know your product. You also have to be able to relate its features to customer benefits. In this next segment, we're going to watch some top salespeople at work as they do just that. At the same time, we're going to give you a little test of your product knowledge so that you can see how well you match up to these top performers.
Morning.
Morning.
Joe, my name.
Jack.
Hi, Jack.
How are you?
What
Nice
can
to
I
meet
do for you?
Well, I'm interested in one of these cars here. I've seen them and watched them on the roads, and I think that it looks like something that would probably fill my needs.
Okay, now, you haven't road tested any of them yet. You need some information on them.
Yeah.
Okay. You say your needs. Can you give me an idea what your needs are? Do you have a boat? Do
Well,
you need it for family car?
Well, I'd like to use it for hauling, but I guess what I really need it for is I want a car that's good for the family. We don't have a big family, but be able to fit people in the 4 doors I like.
Well,
And I'd also like it to be able to haul stuff, like lumber and bags of cement, things like that when I'm working on the house in the yard.
well, this is suited for that. Being a 4-door makes it convenience for a family car, where most of the others are 2-door cars, you know, that your competition would have. I don't know if you shop them or not, but this being a 4-door, it makes it convenient. It is a 5-passenger car. You have 3 sets of seatbelts in the back and 2 in the front.
Good.
Okay, and what makes this convenient is the ease in which you put the back seat down. So when you're using for a cargo area, you just lift that up and you pull this down. Now you have a full cargo area. It's over, 70 cubic
To
feet.
have a seat like that on a Saab that I had. That
All right,
flipped
okay,
down.
all right.
And I really like that.
Right, and this, has a hatch, so it's a full hatch, which is easy for your wife to handle because it's a fiberglass tailgate. See, the tailgate's all fiberglass, and you have that on gas-filled shock, so when she opens this car, it will actually come up easily by itself with no problem. No wind will blow it down and hit her in the head, and actually, for the average height person, you can get under it, okay? So the cargo area in the cavity is quite big, so when you're loading this,
How wide is this across here?
well, this is actually, will not hold a 4x8, but it's 43 inches between the wheel wells, so you're pretty good
I mean,
width.
from there to
Right,
there.
Right.
Okay.
But you can put a 4x8 if you go on top of the wheel wells. But most of the people will not carry the lumber in here. They use this cargo rack here, which you can put on there, and you have tie downs on it, okay, which
Yeah.
is adjustable.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm
How's it
Richie.
going?
How are you?
Nice to meet you. I'm Lorenzo.
Larry, nice. Can I call you Larry?
Sure, call me Larry.
What brings you to South River American?
Well, I've been looking at Jeeps, and I do a lot of camping, and I've been looking at the Bronco, and been looking at the Cherokee, and
Okay.
I'm interested. I do a lot of camping, go down to shore, I do a lot of traveling, got the family, got the kids, and I need something bigger than what I have now.
And what are you driving currently?
I'm driving a Cutlass Supreme right now.
Okay, so you're looking to get basically into the four-wheel drive market now. Have some fun.
Yeah, have some fun.
Good. Come on with me, Larry. Let me give you a little demonstration on our new Cherokee here. This is a Cherokee Chief, and it's one of 4 models in the series. Now, depending on what you're looking to spend and what you can afford, Jeep has a product that can fit your budget.
Okay.
The bodies, the interior space of the units themselves are all identical, all right? If you want to keep your price down low, we can sell you a base model Cherokee. No thrills, but a Jeep. Good four-wheel drive machine. If you want to step up a little bit in class and you want a little more level of comfort, then you can go into the family series, the Pioneer. But we'll look at this one because you're a nice young guy and I think you might like the
I like
Cherokee
the color,
Chief.
too. I really like the color.
Oh, yeah. The red is real sharp. All right, let me show you the Cherokee Chief. And I like to work from the back and end up in the front. I think it's a little better. We'll save the real good stuff for last, all right? First of all, you mentioned the Bronco, one of our main competitors. What you're looking at here, all right, is a cargo area that is quite larger than the Bronco 2. So for your convenience, if you're going to have a family, if you want to take a lot of equipment out on a camping trip, you've got about 73 cubic feet of cargo area here, which well exceeds the Bronco. So again, convenience being more equipment in the back of your vehicle. Convenience as far as converting, very simple. Open up the back door, okay?
Seats go down.
The seats flip up, very simple. On either side, you, your friend, whatever can do it. All you simply have to do is flip it up and simply flip it down. And now what you have is a complete flat cargo area.
So what does this look like here?
Okay. Wait. Okay, this particular one is a 6-cylinder engine. Now, with the Laredo package, and that's what this is, you have a lot of standard equipment in the Laredo package. The Laredo package is upgraded. You see your power steering is standard in it. Your rear window defogger, your rear window washer and wiper.
Yeah, those
your
are
roof
things
rack.
that I'd like.
Right.
Anyway.
That will all become standard. These tires and wheels are all standard Laredo package. See, we have, in the Cherokees, you have a base Cherokee. Then you have a Cherokee Pioneer. Then you have a Cherokee Chief. And you have a Cherokee Laredo. Now, Laredo is the top of the line. The Chief is one step down. It's basically the same, with the exception of it has white wheels instead of aluminum wheels. And it's got the graphics on it, and it's all blacked out.
Okay.
Now this is a 2.8, which is a nice engine.
This has the fuel injection
No,
or doesn't?
no. The six-cylinder does not have the fuel
Six
injection.
doesn't come with it,
Right.
the 4 does.
The 4-cylinder is fuel injected.
Okay.
Right. You have your power brakes and power steering.
So how's this car on mileage?
Okay, you should average around 19 highway on this car, which is pretty good for the V6. And that's pretty accurate. They're pretty accurate on it.
Inside hood release, very convenient. You open it up just like this. Little push rod over here. And I like to say what you're looking at is our powerhouse, okay? This is the 2.5 liter fuel-injected engine built by Jeep Corporation. It is today on the market the most powerful built 4-cylinder engine, either in domestic or import. What will this engine do for you? Let me ask you a question. What will your needs be for the vehicle? Will you be towing anything?
Yeah, I'll be towing a boat. I have a boat.
Okay, a light-duty type trailer?
6 passenger, yeah, I would say.
About 2,000 pounds?
Yeah, about 2,000 pounds.
Okay, let me give you a little bit of the specifications on the engine. Number one, it's fuel injected. Convenience being more efficient running, better gas mileage, eliminates cold weather starting, longer lasting durability for the engine itself. All right? If you're looking for the automatic transmission, its capabilities are 2,000 pounds. So you can carry a Class A hitch, 2,000-pound trailer, and put about 1,250 pounds of weight inside the vehicle at the same time. That's number one. Number two, what will you get out of the engine? You will get probably double the lifespan of any 4-cylinder engine built on the market. I'll ask you another question. What does the word Jeep mean to you?
Oh, it means off-road driving.
Okay.
Fun.
Okay.
Built like a tank to me, anyway.
That's the key
Strong.
word. Long lasting.
Long lasting.
Okay. Anything that Jeep builds is proven before it hits the market. The reason for that is because we're specialists in 4-wheel drive.
Let me ask you about safety features, because
Okay.
that's something that I really wanted to know about. I went into a dealership once and asked the guy about what safety features he had on that particular car, and he looked kind of in a fog for a minute, and then he said, oh, it's a very safe car, a very safe car. And he didn't have any idea what safety features there were, because it wasn't something that he wanted to sell, but that's something that I'm very concerned about.
Since I'm paying a little bit more for the Select track, can you tell me why I'm paying a little bit more? The difference between Select and the Command, why I would pay more?
Larry, that's a very good question. And before I answer it, I'd like you to come outside so I can basically give you a little visual on the outside axles, so I think you'll well understand it a little bit better. All right?
Okay, good.
Come on out. Larry, let me show you. It's a little visual here on the tires to basically show you why you're paying more for a Select track over a Command track. And again, you're paying more because they're two individual systems. They're not identical. They're totally different. Okay, and it's the application of the power of transfer from your transfer case to your rear wheels to your front wheels. That is what is called four-wheel drive. Command track, an example. You have your transmission and you have a transfer case which is mounted to it. The transfer case engages your front axle. Well, in the case of Command track, okay, we have what we call a fixed drive shaft for the front and for the rear. They are linked to the transfer case together. So in reality, when you're in four-wheel drive, if your back wheels are on ice, on grease, snow, whatever, and they start to spin, okay, as one unit, so will your front. because, again, the two drive shafts are connected to the transfer case.
Okay.
So you have an even displacement, but both wheels are turning at the same speed. So if your back wheels are on snow and your front wheels are on dry pavement, as the back wheels are spinning, okay, basically your fronts will start to spin on dry pavement. You will get out, but with effort. It will take a little longer to get out with the standard conventional system, which everybody basically in the market today uses.
That Bronco has?
That's correct.
Okay.
Now, the key question is the select track. Why are you paying more? Why is it a better system, more sophisticated? It's as simple. The transfer case in the vehicle is totally different. It is not directly linked to the front axles and the rear axles together. We have what we call a viscous coupling. It's a differential gear, which allows the front axle and the rear axles of the vehicle to rotate independently of each other.
I see what you mean.
Okay, so now if you can visualize what I'm saying, back wheels on snow, front wheels on dry pavement. Back wheels slip. All the power, basically 8 times the power displaced to the rear, is now transferred automatically up to the front. The back wheels basically stop, and the front wheels simply pull you right out.
Still not clear about this select track and
The command track?
the command track.
Okay.
The front and rear axles are both engaged for both systems, command track and select track. However, the transfer cases have different functions between the two. In the case of command track, the front and rear prop shafts, if you will, as connected to the transfer case, are mechanically connected by a chain and gear set so that they are rigidly fixed. They both must move at exactly the same speed. In the case of select track, quite the opposite is true. The transfer case, and therefore the front and rear shafts, prop shafts, are connected, one by a differential gear set, much like you have in a rear axle, and secondly, by a viscous coupling. Now, herein lies the base difference between the two systems. What is the functional difference between the mechanical lockup part-time system and the differentiated viscous coupling select track system? In the case of the command track system, the torque transfer to either the front of the vehicle or the rear of the vehicle is limited by the traction of the most slippery surface.
For example, if the rear of the vehicle was stuck in a ditch that was full of ice or mud, you might find yourself in the situation we're about to illustrate. Because we didn't have a ditch full of snow or mud, we did the next best thing. We greased up 2 4x8 plywood sections and simulated the ditch. We backed a Cherokee with standard command track onto the boards so that the rear wheels were on the greased section and the front wheels were on dry pavement. Now, watch what happens when the driver steps on the accelerator. As you can see, there's very little torque being transferred to the front wheels. As Dan pointed out, this is due to the fact that in command track, the front and rear prop shafts which connect to the transfer case are mechanically linked by a chain and gear set. The result is the type of situation you see here. The front wheels are still pulling, but they've been deprived of much of their power and effectiveness because they don't get a smooth application of power from the wheels to the ground. So, that's command track. What about the optional select track system?
In the case of select track, in this same configuration, the torque transferred to the front wheels located on dry pavement would not be a function of the slippery surface of the rear tire located in a ditch, but because of the viscous coupling, would be a function of the relative motion front to rear, and substantially 6 or 7 times more torque would be applied to the front axle, and therefore the performance of this condition would be substantially superior in select track as opposed to command track.
Okay, let's illustrate that. We have the same situation as before, except that this time we're using a Wagoneer with optional select track. What's going to happen is that as soon as the rear wheels start to slip, the system will transfer the power to the front wheels, giving them 6 to 7 times more torque, and thus giving the front wheels the necessary power to pull the car out easily. Watch. Again, because the prop shafts are connected, 1, by a differential gear set, much like you find in a rear axle, and 2, by a viscous coupling, the torque can be transferred to the front or rear wheels as needed. In other words, rather than the front wheels being impacted by the predicament of the rear wheels, they are free to pull independently.